everyone. Hi, Evan. I'm back in my backyard studio in Ottawa. How are you?
Hi, Brigitte. I haven't moved from my office in Ottawa.
So I had the best weather in Halifax for the week while you guys were sweltering up here, and then I flew in about an hour after the nastiest storms on Saturday. So I'm like the genius of weather this
Yeah.
week or the last 2 weeks. So completely not on purpose. This was by accident. I'm just lucky, I guess. So I'll take it. Hey, it's busy this week in the municipal race.
Some
We have a
things have
lot to
happened.
we have a lot to get. Some polls. We have some canvassing that you've done. We've got some events that we've almost been at the same event together, you and
Mm.
I, and possibly a rumor of somebody else jumping into the
Yes.
race.
Shocking.
So, how about we start with the disinformation campaign about the linger downtown business? Everybody knows what this is. We don't need to set this up. What do you think of it?
Well, I haven't been following it as closely as you have,
Mm-hmm.
but it did occur to me that point number 10 of the, was it 48 objectives?
48 point
Says,
plan for
the
transit. That's
plan,
right.
right, says
Hmm.
pretty clearly
Yeah.
that they want you to linger downtown.
They're trying to encourage
They encourage
people
you.
who go back to the office in September to stay downtown a little longer after work so that we don't have a massive rush hour
Mhm.
problem that could cause the trains to fail because our train system and transit system generally is just not equipped for rush hour.
And,
Perhaps people should have thought of that earlier, but never mind.
yeah, and pray tell, what should the average federal public servant do downtown after
Well, I have a
4:30 p.m.?
Yeah, I have a column for the Citizen on that that's going to be out soon. So I'll let people go and see what I have to say about it. But no, I have some ideas about this. Like, continue to neglect your kids. Why not stay overnight downtown while you're
Yep.
at it? Forget where home is. Maybe we need a public private partnership with downtown pubs so that we can have cheap drinks. So people will drink enough, they forget where home is and then not go at all. And then we'll save ourselves on the morning rush hour traffic. We just need to have a couple of showers downtown. We're good to go.
Yeah, guess what? The average person, myself included, I'm sure you, after work
I
probably
want to go
want to go
home.
home. And
Yeah,
they want to go home as quickly as possible, direct one route, no delays.
that's
They
it.
don't want to linger downtown. And
Well,
they
if they
have
do
no
want,
intent.
it's not because somebody asked them to, right? You
Yeah.
do it because you want to, which
And,
is fine. But like,
and,
ugh,
and they have no intention of paying $13 for a glass of wine
right.
to stay downtown.
Okay, I have
I
a
just
question
think,
for you. Where do
yeah.
you get $13 glasses of wine? Because they're always more expensive when I
Well,
try
I
to
think
have
that
wine. Yeah,
I
it's
think that's the
that's the
five.
low, that's the
that's
yeah, that's the happy
that's
hour price.
that's the happy hour 5 ounce price.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. So no, and it's ridiculous. And so people, of course, predictably backlashed against this. Say, what the hell kind of campaign is this? And Mayor Mark Sutcliffe came out and said, well, no, actually, you needed to clarify things, which is always a bad thing. When you have to
Did,
clarify your communications, you've done something wrong. And he said that he was not asking employers to keep employees at work longer. And I'm like, nobody was saying that. What is this? You just introduced even more confusion. You're a professor of communications, Evan, right? Don't introduce more confusion into something that's already a mess. That's basic. But apparently, our mayor doesn't do basics anymore.
well, he keeps on throwing in the word uh, I think he uses the word disinformation,
Hmm.
misinformation. They're two different
One
things.
of the others. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one or the other, which suggests that there's some intent on the part of people who complain, that they're just muddying the waters. They're deliberately
No, they're not.
blurring the
Right. No.
true public communication that's being put out
Hmm.
by the city of Ottawa. I think
Yeah.
this is more I study and teach public communication, and the city of Ottawa, unfortunately, our city keeps on stumbling in its public
Hmm.
communication. And
Yeah.
then
It's a
and then the
pattern.
mayor steps on that initial mistake or misstep and then seems to make it worse. And
Exactly.
and then add another layer that we're in an election campaign, and then people are assuming the worst motivations
I,
of the mayor. So
I could see the opponent's ads from here. Like this mayor is so discouraged by his own buses that he's running ads against them.
yeah, so
Anyway. talk about shooting yourself in the foot with both
But
hands.
but
Oh
Bridget,
well.
we don't want to preempt your column, right?
No,
We
we
don't
don't. I almost did, but that's okay.
we
Sorry, we
don't
get
want
to
to
do that.
preempt your column.
Yeah, no, it's. I think he deserves the backlash he's getting.
Okay.
So, having said all this, we had a new poll this week, a liaison poll. So the same guy who's been doing polls
Yes.
since March, April. He's been
April.
doing them for
April.
April. Okay,
Fourth. It's the
for
fourth
a
poll.
little. Right. So he presumably uses the same methodology every
Yes.
time. So we
Yep.
can now
Yep.
compare, we can have a bit of a trend line. And big surprises in this latest poll. So he called this winning by losing,
That's
because
right.
the mayor Mark Sutcliffe's support dropped 10 points, if I'm not
That's right.
mistaken, from
It has
46 to
dropped since
36.
April by 10 points.
Right. But he's still ahead somehow. So I
Yes.
don't have a head for
Okay.
numbers. Yeah, I went to
Okay.
law school because they promised me there'd be no math. Um, I don't understand how he can lose 10 points and still be ahead, other than the other three are
But
dividing everything. Is that how
you've
this
answered the
works?
question.
Okay.
So, but it is a compelling headline, and the
Right.
iPolitics article, it was a great headline. The
Right.
mayor is winning by losing.
Right.
You know,
So how do you explain losing 10 points though,
well,
in what, a month since the last one,
uh, well,
more or
he,
less?
no, he's lost 10 points since the first poll.
I
So he
see.
was
Okay.
at 46 when David Valentin's Ottawa Compass poll, the first poll in the series of tracking polls, and the
Okay.
mayor at that time was at 46, and now in July he's at 36.
All right.
So he has been dropping,
Mm-hmm.
but he is winning because Lawson has been catching up to Leaper and splitting
Okay.
the anti-incumbent vote.
Okay.
So he is
I know I'm gonna, yeah, I know I'm
so
gonna
so
incur
no
the
so
wrath of the Lawson campaign when I say this, but
yeah,
how?
okay.
How
So
is Alex Lawson more popular than Jeff? I'm sure, like, no offense to Alex
no,
Lawson, but he's not nowhere
okay.
near as known
Yes.
a politician as Jeff Leaper is. Like,
Okay.
how? I
So
don't get it.
so this, as you know, David Coletto came out there's now a spat among some pollsters. And
Catfight.
when that came out, David Coletto, who has publicly declared that he is supporting his friend, the mayor, Mark
Hmm.
Sutcliffe, came out very vehemently and basically shot like a cannonball across the bow of liaison strategies. Says,
Mm.
I don't believe you. How can this be 26%? This is somebody with no name recognition. 4 months ago. How is this possible? David
Hmm.
Valentin standing by his
Right.
results. So, Bridget, we have to wait. Let's
Right.
see the next poll in August.
Hmm.
Was this one of the rogue polls, 19 out of 20 that we talk about, one poll out of 20, something goes wrong, or is this a real trend? And so, what viewers and readers should take into account is that the mayor is at 36%. Now, I want you to appreciate what this means. So, an incumbent mayor, for whom this election should have been a cakewalk. Like,
Right.
we both
Easy.
agree,
Easy peasy. Yeah.
easy
He's got
peasy,
no scandals,
no
right?
scandal,
Yeah. Yeah.
personal favorability high.
He works hard, like he's
Works
an honest
hard,
politician, right?
decent,
So, yeah.
decent human
Hmm.
being. Nobody has any personal problems with him. This election should have been a cakewalk. And the
So why
fact that
isn't it?
Mark Sutcliffe is at 36%, meaning 6 out of 10 Ottawans do not want Mark Sutcliffe to have a second term. And so not Barry, because actually David Valentin, when he was interviewed on it by iPolitics, said so. So it's not, he wasn't burying the lead, as they say.
Hmm.
He was just saying, yeah, he's winning by losing. And he's winning because apparently the polling says that Alex Lawson has caught up to Jeff Leaper. Okay.
Hmm. All
But
right.
the real point in there is that Mark Sutcliffe should not be taking any satisfaction about the 10% spread.
Hmm.
Because in August, when the next poll comes out, as the undecided voters start to go down from
Start deciding.
34%,
Yeah,
those
yeah.
undecided voters, and I talked to David Valentin about this, those undecided voters are not going to be breaking for Mark Sutcliffe. Because if they were undecided, if you and I are undecided, we've already had 3.5 years to get the measure of Mark Sutcliffe.
Mm.
We're not undecided about whether we're voting or not voting for
We're
Mark
just not
Sutcliffe.
sure who we want to vote
We
for,
just don't
who's
know
not Mark
who's not.
Sutcliffe.
So
Right.
now, and you say the numbers game, well, for people who statisticians and people who understand polling, they will tell you
Weirdos. Weirdos.
that
Yeah.
for Mark Sutcliffe to maintain his 35%, those undecided, as those undecided numbers go down as we get closer to the election, they have to be breaking. A third of them have to be breaking for Mark,
Back to him.
back
Yes.
to him, just to
Right.
keep him with that
At that
34
level.
at level. And what the other campaigns strongly suspect, may include based on their internal polling, certainly on the Lawson side, is that Mark Sutcliffe does not have a third of voters who will be of undecideds who will be breaking for him. Therefore,
Okay.
mathematically, Bridget, mathematically, that 35, 36% might just start to drift lower. And if Mark Sutcliffe starts getting into the 33% zone,
Mm.
David Coletto and the campaign team, I think they already know what's coming.
Yeah.
And I think they are going. I've been saying for months, probably since February, that the yellow lights have been flashing for Mark Sutcliffe's campaign, for Team Sutcliffe. If by August he just has to lose 1 or 2 points, not like go 36 to 34, right?
Yeah.
And then watch what the undecideds go down to 30 or 29.
Mm.
See, and
So that's
so
big red lights
it's
flashing at that point.
big red lights flashing,
Hmm.
and then we can talk. And then I don't know how you want to bridge it. Or if you want to talk about the elephant in the room yet, or if you just want to leave it there. Sorry, the other point from the poll I'd want to let people know is that Mark Sutcliffe is extremely unpopular in central Ottawa neighborhoods.
Right. Which we knew. I
No,
mean,
but we didn't know the degree.
right.
And in fact, I would venture to say, Bridget, that if Alex Lawson came down to Old Ottawa South, Kitchissippi, Somerset, and the Glebe, he would probably get a more positive reception than Mark
Hmm.
Sutcliffe showing up at your door. That's saying something.
That's yes. I don't know that I'm prepared to make the same statement, but I'm just going to respect that you made it first. And if you're right about this, you get ice cream, because
Okay,
that's quite the statement.
that's
That a
quite the
guy
statement.
who's again, and nothing against Alex Lawson, but he's
No,
not like Neil
no,
Saravanamuthu. These guys are not household names, right?
no.
And if he gets a better reaction than the sitting mayor, who, as we keep
Well,
saying, has no personal scandals to his name, you got a problem.
you've got a problem. So I think
Yeah.
people in the Sutcliffe camp who are taking satisfaction in Jeff Leeper drifting
Mm,
downwards
right.
had better look at it in a more realistic
Yeah.
way.
So I have a couple of questions
Sure.
without answers. So
Yeah.
I'm curious, and we'll probably find out the answers to this
Sure.
as perhaps in the next poll. The people who have left Jeff Leeper in this
Yes.
poll relative to the previous one, where'd they go?
They've
Did
gone
they
to
go to
they've
Neil?
gone to Neil. Yes.
Yeah. So if that remains the case, but it's not enough for them to tip over so that Neil, because Neil
Sure.
has gotten some,
He
he's
is.
now over 10%, right? In this
He's
latest
at
one,
11.
11-ish. Okay.
I think some pollsters felt that he would never break out of 2 or 3%. So
Right.
for them, he has made
Right.
a huge leap forward.
And Jeff is at 25.
And Jeff
So,
is, according to the liaison poll, he's at 25 of committed and leaning voters, right?
right. So
With the
not, I'm not good
33
at math, but 11 plus 25 is 36, isn't it?
Yeah. I would say, and I didn't bring it up last night when I visited. I didn't talk to Jeff last night at the pub, but I talked to his manager, Stephen Yardy. Yeah, it's. I think it would be really tough. I think it's really tough to take the fact that Jeff is watching his vote, the alternative to Mark Sutcliffe vote, migrate to Neil. It's great for
Mm,
Neil, right?
hmm.
It's great for Neil, but I think it would be very difficult. That's hard to swallow that you're watching your vote drift away. But I think part of that reason, and I think Stephen told me last night that you were there for Jeff's speech.
I was, yeah. We
Yeah,
passed like two ships, and I left
yeah,
early,
yeah,
and you
right.
came in late. Yeah,
So I said to Stephen, I said, your candidate just seems too timid. He doesn't seem to make that contrast between himself and the mayor strongly enough. And then Stephen
hmm,
said, I should talk to you, Bridget, because you were there for his speech. And in his
that's right.
speech, apparently
He
he was
was
a little
very
more
much so.
forceful.
That's right. Yes.
Uh,
Yes. So that's the news, I think, from this week is that, and perhaps Jeff has started doing this a little bit earlier. We just didn't catch up with it.
yeah,
But I have seen, certainly last night, and the crowd, it was, it was a decent little crowd.
right,
And they were loud. These people are
right.
committed, which is, it's so lovely. Like, just like, I don't care who you vote for and who you support. I just love to see
No,
participation
we're
in
both the
any
same
kind
on
of
them.
electoral politics. Like,
We
I'm the
want
nerd here.
we want to increase participation. We want to increase interest. We have our views on
That's
the
right.
individual candidates, obviously, but
Right.
my primary purpose is to get greater voter engagement.
Better elections because we all
Yes,
deserve
better
better
election.
results.
Yeah,
Wow, I could put that on a bumper sticker. But all this to say that during his short speech, Jeff Leeper last night was forceful in contrasting what he's proposing with what we're having. And it pleased my little heart when he mentioned transit and people just exploded. Like,
yeah,
because transit is that one thing. And I was talking to volunteers and people who've been
yeah,
canvassing, and I was chatting with Stephen Yardy as well. And like, what keeps coming up? And transit, transit,
okay.
transit, transit.
So
It
can I?
comes up a lot.
Okay, so I'm going to make a comment on transit, and this is based
Hmm.
on the liaison polling, and talking to people in Orleans and Ottawa East. For them, transit is it's important, but it is on the lower end of importance. So when
Hmm.
you look at the numbers, it's huge. The disparity in viewing transit is huge from a central Ottawa, the wards we live in, versus the eastern suburbs, where everybody uses a car. And so when you ask them what are your top priorities, transit is actually the lowest item.
What comes up on top?
But and so when Jeff Leeper's teams are canvassing in Orleans wards, they shouldn't be leading with transit because that will
Mm.
not resonate with the voters there. So
What
that is
resonates with the voters there then? What's
well,
the topic?
I think the traffic would resonate.
Yeah.
I think taxes
Hmm.
will stuff definitely resonate. How City Hall is spending their taxes. So part of that issue set, crime, safety, all that
Hmm.
will resonate much more highly than transit. And
Hmm.
you can work with that. Your messages change. The emphasis
Oh, of course, yeah.
changes whether
Mm.
you're in Nepean or Orleans or Kitchissippi.
I even had a chat with a volunteer. I'm not going to name him because I said I wouldn't, but he was chatting with me very candidly about what he starts with, because he starts with, especially in the urban wars, he starts with transit, and if that doesn't work, and he said eventually one topic that gets everyone's support is libraries. That
Yeah.
made also my little heart very happy because I'm such a fan of the people who run the library system. Like, they do so much good work with so little money, and keeping libraries open longer, especially on weekends, especially during heat waves. This is something that everyone's in favor of. So my little book nerd side, inner child in there, was just so happy to hear that. But the traffic that allows me to segue into the rumor this week.
Yes. The
Um,
elephant in the room. The elephant in
Lisa
the room.
McLeod, Lisa McLeod, former MPP from what was her writing? The PN. She's out in
Yes.
Barhaven,
Yeah.
and I would call her. Not, she's not like a Pierre Poilievre to the right, but
Well,
like a
she's Ontario
she's
conservative.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So she's to the right of Mark Sutcliffe, I would think, but not by
Yes.
a huge margin.
Right.
She'd be
Yeah.
somewhere between Alex Lawson, I think, and
Yeah.
Mark Sutcliffe,
And
perhaps
yeah.
closer to Alex Lawson. That's I
Yeah.
think where I think she'd be comfortable. Anyway, the rumor is that she might be thinking of running for mayor of Ottawa, and she had a post on her Facebook
Yes.
account talking about precisely that, because she's in Barhaven, as we know. And what she says should have been a 10-minute drive. I'm reading the
Yeah.
10-minute drive to the grocery store turned into a 45-minute crawl through Barhaven because of traffic, construction, detours, and poor coordination. Lisa, you're speaking my language, right? This is an issue that really upsets a lot of people who drive for whatever they need their cars for. We know instinctively, people who've been living in this city for a while, we kind of have a sense of how long whatever trip
Yep.
we're about to take should take. And if it takes twice as long as this, we get really angry.
Twice as
And we
long,
have good
three
reason.
times,
Well,
four
sometimes
times as
it's
long.
3 times as long. Yeah, exactly. So we get upset at twice, and it's very often more than that. And this goes back to what I said to Mark Sutcliffe a year ago. If you don't fix transportation, I don't know that you can win in this town. You can, if people need to know that when they need to go somewhere, they can get there in time that is reasonably close to what they have a reason to expect, what they should be able to expect. And we're not doing that. And if Lisa McLeod enters that race, that is really bad news for Mark Sutcliffe, because suddenly there's
Yes.
three on the right and two on the left, middle right, whatever. Like they split up this way. And suddenly his 36% looks really bad.
Well, I have a few thoughts.
Okay.
I thought I'd spend today doing some academic, scholarly writing, and it
Nah.
turned out that I spent the day on the phone talking to people, running down this rumor, uh, rereading her Facebook post. As she sent this out on Tuesday, and
Right.
so I think this is the first viral. Is this the first really viral moment of the campaign? It feels like this might
I
be
don't know yet.
the
It could
first
be.
viral. She says there were 19,000 views
Hmm.
of her letter. I read that letter, Brigitte, as a political manifesto. I read
Mm.
it as a communication professor would read
Hmm.
examine an artifact, like a
Right.
political communication artifact. And she said, "I'm just a concerned citizen here.
Hmm.
This isn't intended as a political announcement. It started to read, by the time Wednesday and Thursday came around, it started to read like a non-denial denial.
Right. Yeah. You're
And I'm
protesting
just,
too much, Lisa. You
yeah,
know.
it's like
Okay.
I'm just listening to you. I'm not making a
Hmm.
decision. These are her own
Mm.
words.
Yeah.
And then she says, uh, quote, and given the decisions I may or may not make in late August, unquote.
Oh,
Oh, so you're telling us that
well.
this is not, I'm just a concerned citizen, and then almost in the same breath, you're saying,
Yeah.
oh,
Hmm.
I know that the August 21st deadline is coming up for my
Yeah.
nomination papers, should I want to enter the
Decide.
race. Um,
Hmm.
and then she says, council isn't working. And you read it, and the rhythm and the tempo felt like a political speech, not just kind
Yeah.
of
I mean, she
something.
knows how to get elected,
She
right? Like
knows how to
she's
get
got
elected.
experience. Yeah. Hmm.
Um,
She knows that
if
game.
if she enters the race,
Game over, I think.
the person who will be run, I said, when I was thinking about it today, I say, who's the person that's going to be so happy? It'll be Neil. Neil will be so happy he'll run outside and start screaming and singing with joy, because she is just she's going to confuse everything
And
among Lawson,
yeah.
Lawson, the mayor, and herself.
Hmm.
Because can Mark Sutcliffe, because I said, he's at that dangerous 36-35% level of support. If Lisa goes in, he's going to lose those points. He's going to be down to the 32,
There's no way
31.
he wins if she enters that
and
race.
and it's really hard. Now he could still squeeze out a win if something happens, something else
Mm.
happens on the Lawson side, but she would definitely scramble the race
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
Um, and and paradoxical, or not the word paradox, the wrong word. I think Jeff Leaper would actually feel a bit of a sigh of relief, because the focus will be on this battle, right?
That's right. That's right.
It'll
He
be a.
looks good by comparison
Well,
because nobody's attacking him.
I was thinking, to use the other B word, a brawl. A,
Right.
a brawl
Right.
on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm thinking of titles of columns already. The brawl.
Yeah.
And
The
it would,
journalist in me is like, yes, please bring this on because that would make it exciting.
because one thing you and I know is that Jeff can't seem to challenge Mark Sutcliffe forcefully enough for many people.
Not
But
yet,
Lisa,
anyway.
but until now, up
Hmm.
until now, but Lisa McLeod, my gosh, I know you and we all know
Yeah.
that Mark Sutcliffe
We
does
we
not
know her.
want.
Yes.
Well, first of all, Mark Sutcliffe doesn't even want to go toe to toe with Alex Lawson.
Imagine.
Imagine if he had
Yeah.
to fend off Lisa McLeod
Mm.
in his political communication. It would be brutal. I mean, it would be very interesting for us to watch and analyze.
I know. This is, like I said,
And the
the
person
journalist wants
and
this.
and the
Yeah.
person who would probably be happiest would be Neil Sarabanamutu, because then he
Hmm.
could see himself. He could literally see himself. Ooh, maybe I can be the alternative. They'll they'll
Yeah.
they'll they'll split the vote three ways, and if Jeff Leeper just drifts southward a little bit more, I could just squeak in.
Yeah. Either that or he becomes a kingmaker.
Or as I've said before,
Yeah.
he definitely becomes my kingmaker, Bridget.
Right.
Definitely becomes, because then, if we're all we're sitting around everybody's sitting around 25, 26%.
And he
Then
throws his 10,
then and
12,
then Neil
14.
wherever Neil throws, that person they become mayor.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that was a
Well,
lot of numbers.
that's a lot of numbers.
I'm exhausted, but
That
it's fun.
well, today was a big day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's
So,
good, and I think it's going to start picking up. And you and I will continue. You've been
yes.
doing some canvassing. You've been to a trivia night with Joan Canello, and I still need to get in touch with Erin Coffin in
Yeah.
Canada South. I always get them mixed
So
up, the two
so
Canadas.
I am
And I
I
want to go to a Mark Sutcliffe event. I want to get a feel for
yeah.
his audience and how people like what kind of energy he draws
So
from
look, when you
people.
go to a trivia night, you're going to be around supporters.
Right.
You're around
Yes.
supporters, so you don't
Yeah. Yeah.
expect, but you still feel, the energy, the degrees of energy, the degrees of
Mm-hmm.
support,
Mm-hmm.
and when I see Joanne, and I've said this to her, I don't think I've used these words, but she has that. I don't want people to misunderstand when I say this, like a political killer instinct. Like
Mm.
you have a sense from Joanne, she will leave no stone unturned. You know,
She's a
in
hard worker.
a hard worker in her
Mm.
quest
Right.
to win,
Mm-hmm.
and I just don't feel that from Jeff Leeper. I've never felt that from Jeff Leeper,
Mm.
and we'll wait to see
Right.
how he evolves, shall we say, over the course of the next 3 months, 90 days.
Lots to look after this
Yes,
this coming week, and then I hope there's fewer numbers next week because that was a lot of numbers for me. But then we'll come back to that, and then we'll discuss more next week.
we'll discuss next week.
All right. You have a
You too.
great weekend. I can speak English. I can do that. All right. Bye. See you later.
Bye bye.